Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a world where ancient magic dictates fate. Where unseen forces, spirits, tradition, they hold sway over daily life.
Right.
Then, picture a young boy, barely a teenager, who looks at the wind. Not as some mystical power, but as a source of energy, just waiting to be harnessed, to bring light and hope.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a glimpse, really, into the incredible deep dive we're taking today.
It's such a fascinating narrative, isn't it? The way it shifts, profoundly from these deeply rooted traditional beliefs
Yeah,
to this intense engagement with scientific principles. And it's all driven by the most urgent, existential need.
exactly.
What truly captures your attention, I think, is this interplay. You've got culture, harsh necessity, and just breathtaking innovation all mixed together.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Today, we're diving into the early life and, well, the astonishing journey of William Kamkwamba.
Mhm.
It's all documented in excerpts from his book, The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, which is just powerful,
Yeah,
deeply personal.
it really is.
And this material, it doesn't just tell us a story. It sort of transports us, deep into rural Malawi.
Oh, absolutely. You feel like you're there.
Yeah, through periods of unimaginable hardship.
Yeah.
Real struggle. And then right into the mind of this young guy. So curious, so resilient, a self-taught inventor.
And it's so much more than just a personal anecdote, isn't it?
Right.
It's a powerful illustration of how ingenuity can actually flourish even when facing huge challenges.
Immense challenge.
And how traditional worldviews can clash and sometimes even coexist with, this emerging scientific thought.
Yeah, that tension is fascinating.
And the ripple effect. Just one person's sheer determination, what that can do for their community, and honestly for the wider world. You're going to see how desperation, when you combine it with this unquenchable curiosity, well, it truly can become the mother of invention.
One of the things that immediately stands out, and it really sets the stage, is how the book opens. This idea that magic ruled the world for William before science really entered his life. And it's not just some, quaint belief system you read about in an old textbook.
Yeah.
It's deeply integrated into his daily reality. And maybe more powerfully, his daily fears.
It really is.
It influenced everything, from something seemingly small like stolen bubblegum, right up to these ancient, terrifying tales that shaped his whole understanding of the universe early on.
It's such a crucial starting point, isn't it? This pervasive, magical worldview. How does that shape your perception of reality? And maybe more importantly, how does it influence problem solving? Especially when you eventually contrast it with scientific explanations.
Yeah.
William's early experiences, they paint such a vivid picture of a world where supernatural forces weren't just metaphors. They were like active participants in everyday life.
And incredibly pervasive, sometimes chillingly so. William's earliest memory, for instance, it involves his father saving him from what he genuinely thought was certain death. Wow. All because, with a bit of childlike lapse in judgment, he ate some stolen bubblegum.
Just bubblegum.
Bubblegum. But the traitor, he was furious about his missing bag of gum, and he issued this chilling threat, said he'd gone to see the Singanga, village witch doctor.
Oh, wow.
And William describes this intense, paralyzing fear. He was convinced witches would come for him that night, take him aboard their mystical planes, force him into battle, leave him for dead on what he called magic battlefields.
Good grief. As a child, that must have been terrifying.
He lay there imagining his soul drifting, forsaken, his body cold by morning. Thought he could smell poison inside him. He ran home crying, threw himself at his father's knees, just pleading not to die.
And his father.
His father, this big man whose knees apparently popped when he stood, he just calmly smiled. Then he went off to Masaka, 8 kilometers away, and simply paid the traitor.
Just paid him off.
Yeah, and the act, it really established his father as this powerful, almost legendary figure in William's eyes, someone who could negotiate even with these seemingly supernatural threats. A protector against forces William just couldn't comprehend.
That act, it might seem mundane to us maybe, but it really underscores the profound belief system that was at play there.
Definitely.
His father understood the power of that belief, didn't he? Even if he didn't share the fear in quite the same way. And he articulated it beautifully, actually. He spoke of magic as a third and powerful force alongside God and man.
A third force. Interesting.
Yeah. For him, it was sort of a way to compensate for imbalances,
Yeah.
a means for people to gain an advantage in a land where, let's face it, poor farmers often had very little else.
Right.
These weren't just superstitions. They were deeply held explanations for the world's, inexplicable cruelties or sometimes good fortunes. William would gather with his sisters at his father's feet on moonless nights.
You can picture it.
The darkness amplifying the stories, listening as his father explained how magic had been with them from the beginning, passed down through generations. These were literally their bedtime stories, shaping their very understanding of existence.
And these stories were so vivid, almost palpable in their impact. There was the tale of Mwasa, this wizard who vanished to kill a black rhino.
Vanished?
Yeah, didn't just sneak up on it. He sprinkled magic water on himself and his rifle, vanished completely, became only music in the breeze, then killed the rhino.
Wow, okay.
And as a prize, he was granted power over a mountain. He renamed it Nguruya Nwambe, which means the deadly deceit of Nwambe. And what's fascinating is that this mountain, according to the book, still casts this long shadow over William's village today.
So it grounds these legends right there in their physical reality.
Exactly. A constant reminder of the magic that once was, and well, maybe still is in some way.
That direct geographic connection makes those stories feel incredibly real, immediate, cements them into the landscape, into the community's collective memory, but perhaps even more fear-inducing and certainly more physically imposing was the Guli Wamukulu.
Yes. The secret society dancers.
The feared dancers. William describes them traveling on stilts, sometimes more than twice the height of a man, towering above crowds, screaming in these different guttural tongues that just sounded otherworldly.
Yeah.
He recounts seeing one climb a blue gum pole upside down, defying gravity like a spider. And when they danced, their bodies would move in such impossible ways, it truly seemed like 1,000 men inhabited them, each limb moving in opposite, chaotic directions. Just this dizzying, terrifying spectacle.
The fear they instilled was absolute, almost primal, you know. There was this extreme taboo against questioning them, an unspoken rule that just hung in the air whenever they were near.
You couldn't challenge it.
No. You couldn't, for instance, say, look, they have 5 fingers like me. These guys aren't real. The consequence of even thinking that, let alone whispering it, would be instant and severe. You'd be bewitched.
Bewitched, and no one could help.
No one. Not even the chief apparently could defend you, because the Guli Wamkulu answered only to the chief himself. When they appeared, every woman and child would just drop whatever they were doing and run. Pure terror.
Wow.
William even tells about one appearing in their own courtyard, strutting like a cock, hissing like a snake, his head wrapped menacingly in a flour sack. This pervasive sense of an unseen, powerful force, one that could punish and control. It really colored his entire early perception of the world. It was a world where reason often just had to bow to reverence and fear. So, given this really deeply entrenched magical worldview, what did that mean for William's actual daily life? Interestingly, even within this powerful belief system, there's this strong thread of practical ingenuity. You see it from a very young age. It really showcases how children, regardless of their cultural context, they adapt, they find ways to play, to create, to just do.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture, it highlights something profound, almost universal about childhood, doesn't it? Making do with what's available. Whether it was trading a few mangoes for a piece of wire or finding treasure in what other people just saw as trash, this inherent resourcefulness, this ability to see potential in the discarded, it profoundly foreshadows William's later innovations.
Definitely.
It wasn't just like a fun pastime, it was a foundational skill being honed. Building his confidence in his own ability to manipulate the physical world, even if he didn't yet understand the physics behind it all.
You see it so vividly in the games he played. William and his friends, Jeffrey and Gilbert, they spent their childhood building these elaborate toy trucks.
Out of what?
Out of discarded Chibuku Shake Shake.
Yeah.
Beer cartons and wire.
Beer cartons.
Yeah, he even takes a moment in the book to explain what Shake Shake is, this sour, nutritious beer from fermented maize that you have to shake. A little detail, but it paints a picture. So while kids elsewhere might get pre-assembled toy trucks, William and his friends had to construct theirs from these, seemingly worthless materials. They used mangoes, traded for wire for the axles, bottle caps for wheels. For them, these humble cartons were genuinely treasure and possibility.
It absolutely speaks to that creativity born from necessity. And their daily life revolved around the rhythms of the land, right? The maize and tobacco fields. That was the lifeblood of their community.
Totally.
Evenings were this cherished time, a moment of respite, connection. His father and Uncle John coming back from the fields tired. Supper prepared by his mother and older sister Annie. And music played a big role too, didn't it? A sort of balm after a long day. His father loved Malawian reggae artists like Robert Fumulani and Billy Konda. They'd listen on radio too.
Yeah, Fumulani songs, often about the struggles of the poor, apparently really resonated with his father, provided entertainment but also that sense of shared experience.
And their family history itself, it provides this remarkable testament to resilience, strong values. It shows the deep well William could draw strength from.
Like the story of his grandmother, Rose,
Oh, that's powerful.
building their family home with her own hands, molding bricks for the furnace. The book specifically says this was not the job of a woman.
Highlighting her strength, right. Defiance of norms,
Yeah.
sheer determination.
Exactly. And his father, too, he had this past reputation for drinking and fighting. It led to a very serious warning from a Mr. Kabisa about Zlaika prison, apparently a place you didn't come back from easily.
A real turning point.
A pivotal moment. It prompted his father to turn to God and, crucially, move the family to their new home, seeking a fresh start, away from that dangerous life. It's a powerful narrative of redemption, choosing a better path.
That transformation in his father's life, it sets such an important precedent for William, doesn't it? Shows that fundamental change is possible, even when facing deep-seated habits. Yet, even with these strong family values, these examples of resilience, William faced his own profound personal struggles. He talks candidly about being bullied at school, feeling crippled by humiliation,
Right.
which led him to seriously consider acquiring Mangalamara, this juju for strength.
The strength juju, he'd seen its effects, too, right?
Oh, astonishing, terrifying effects. He saw Fury use it to wrestle his own father, screaming like a tethered tiger, until he collapsed from exhaustion. His father had to use specific plant stems to break the spell.
Wow.
And another boy, James, got severely sick from its poison. Hands and arms so swollen he couldn't move them. This wasn't abstract magic. It was physically manifested power, for better or worse.
So the temptation of Mangalamara must have been incredibly real for a young boy desperate to defend himself.
Absolutely. Shabani, Fury's nephew, who bragged about having it, offered it to William for 20 tambala.
Not much money, but the ritual.
The ritual was intense, cutting William's knuckles with a razor, rubbing the stinging, burning powder into the fresh wounds.
Ooh.
Despite his father's warnings against magic, which must have been a huge internal conflict for William, given his father's history with the Singanga William, desperate for superpowers to overcome the bullies, agreed.
He just wanted to reclaim his dignity.
Exactly. He imagined himself a Goliath on the soccer pitch, legs like rocket launchers, bullies crumbling. He says he didn't cry even though it stung like hot coals because the promise of power was just too great.
Waiting for it to work.
He was promised it would work its way through his veins in 3 days. He waited, full of this, well, terrifying, this internal conflict between traditional magic and his dawning sense of self-reliance, even then. It's a fascinating precursor to his later scientific endeavors. It shows a mind already grappling with how to exert control over his environment.
It's such a powerful setup, isn't it? This world steeped in magic, this boy wrestling with tradition with this burgeoning desire for self-reliance. But then, this deep dive takes a truly serious turn. We encounter the famine. The story just abruptly shifts. From childhood fears of witches and juju to this very real, terrifying struggle for survival. It lays bare the deep vulnerabilities in their system, both natural and, well, man-made.
What's truly striking is the systemic nature of the crisis.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a simple case of bad weather, though of course that was devastating.
Right.
It was profoundly exacerbated by a series of political decisions and just an appalling lack of foresight. The source material paints a very clear, quite damning picture of that fragile balance between human policy and natural cycle,
And how easily it can shatter.
with disastrous consequences.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
The narrative details how, after President Banda retired in 1994, after 30 long years in power, President Malusi took office.
Right.
And what followed was this shocking revelation. Malusi's administration hadn't just sold off Malawi's entire surplus grain, their national food security reserve, for a profit.
Their safety net, gone.
Gone. They sent much of it to Kenya. Millions of kwacha, the national currency, just missing from government accounts.
Unbelievable.
And this happened despite widespread protests that had apparently grown ugly under Banda's previous tyranny and harsh policies. This was more than just a policy error. It was a critical man-made element that deeply compounded the unfolding natural disaster, robbing people of their safety net.
And compounding these political failures was a truly devastating environmental impact. They had severe drought, but also unpredictable floods. Just a cruel irony adding to the agricultural devastation.
Total crop failure.
The rains failed catastrophically, led to stunted maize stalks, crops just withering before they could bear fruit. The hungry season, which is normally hard but manageable became exceptionally brutal. A daily battle for existence. People grew thin, slow, and weak, their bodies literally wasting away. And the heartbreaking reality was that children sometimes died. Their small bodies just couldn't withstand the deprivation.
And the silos, empty.
The usual silos in places like Masaka and Chimbia, normally well-stocked, stood empty. Stark monuments to the crisis, signaling the true, terrifying depth of it to everyone. Villagers, mostly women, were walking for days, just days on end, to Chief Wimbe's father, begging for handouts or Ganyu piecework, day labor, anything for a meager earning.
And the government's response to this unfolding catastrophe was, well, infuriating, deeply negligent.
Baffling silence, wasn't it?
The president initially remained silent, even traveled to London on state business while his country was starving. A Malawian radio report even quoted him brazenly denying any hunger in the country.
Denying it.
Denying it. William's father's response was just poignant and desperate. Some men are blind. This one just chooses not to see. It echoes that profound betrayal felt by countless citizens.
How long did it take for them to acknowledge it?
Nearly 5 months. An agonizing delay, until February 27th for the president to finally acknowledge what everyone on the ground knew intimately, an emergency hunger crisis.
5 months.
By then, the situation was beyond dire. People had lost all faith in official help. It wasn't just policy failure, it was a profound failure of leadership, sowing deep seeds of disillusionment. This whole period, it just paints this stark, harrowing picture of desperation, reveals the very raw edge of human existence. You see William's family making unimaginable sacrifices just to get by, highlighting the sheer, stubborn will to survive against overwhelming odds. It's truly a testament to how far people will go to protect what little they have.
This section powerfully illustrates not only the deep resourcefulness and resilience that emerge when communities are pushed their absolute limits, but also the devastating human cost of such crises. Every single decision, no matter how small, became a matter of immediate survival. It's a chilling reminder of how quickly civilization's veneer can just crack under that kind of pressure, revealing the primal struggle beneath.
The food scarcity was immediate, absolute. William describes running out of food in less than a month. To stretch what little maize they had, they started milling it coarser, full of gaga, that's maize chaff, just to get a tiny bit extra volume, make the meager portions feel larger.
Trying to trick the stomach.
Exactly. Buying Walkman portions of flour, these small bags, usually for city people, that became a common, desperate measure for farmers who normally grew their own. And by then, the mangoes, that crucial seasonal backup.
Gone.
Completely gone, leaving an even deeper void.
And to cope with this unrelenting hunger, families were forced to sell their most valuable assets, literally dismantling their future to survive the present.
Selling the livestock.
William's family had to sell their livestock, their only wealth and stature, as the book says, a stark indicator of their standing. This included Mancala, a cherished goat.
Oh, the favorite goat.
Yeah. And the men running the Kanyenya barbecue stands who bought the animals, they held immense exploitative power in this desperate market, drastically reducing prices, preying on people's immediate needs. William's father, a man of immense pride, was reduced to begging traders to buy his tobacco early, long before it was ready, just enough for a Walkman, a handful of maize. The dignity of hard work just stripped away by raw hunger.
Faced with such an existential threat, they relied on increasingly ingenious and sometimes heartbreaking coping mechanisms. Trapping birds for meat became essential.
How did they do that?
Using this large slingshot-like trap, made from blue gum branches, bicycle tubes, steel wire, bricks, and gaga as bait. It became their only way of getting meat.
Wow.
His dog, Kamba, despite his own suffering, played this crucial, loyal role in hunting, tracking down the birds. But the famine reached a point where even Kamba, the family's companion and hunter, suffered terribly.
Oh, no.
William recounts the almost unbearable decision to leave Kamba to die, knowing the dog was in excruciating pain and that he was simply leaving him. He threw Kamba's food bowl, shattering it, consumed by guilt, whispering, "I did a terrible thing."
Heartbreaking.
A raw reflection of the profound moral compromises forced by starvation, where even the love for a beloved animal had to yield to the brutal logic of survival.
Yet amidst this profound suffering, the family's ingenuity persisted. Especially William's mother, a woman of truly incredible resourcefulness.
What did she do?
She started a small business, selling these heavy, filling cakes for 3 kwacha each from an improvised stand outside a barber shop.
Simple but effective.
Exactly. These cakes, while simple, were cheaper than other options and provided crucial sustenance. The money she earned allowed them to buy one pail of maize, mill it, save half the flour for their family, use the rest for more cakes.
Wow, a tiny cycle of survival.
This provided their one blob of sansima each day, a critical, if agonizingly meager source of sustenance that kept them going against all odds. It was a lifeline forged from sheer will.
The physical and mental toll was just pervasive, a slow, agonizing descent into despair. William started skipping breakfast, tried to get used to the gnawing hunger, habituate his body to deprivation.
Just adapting to starvation.
Faces in the village grew gaunt, skeletal, then simply disappeared from school as children became too weak or worse. Without lotion or soap, basic hygiene became a luxury. People's skin became gray and dried as if they were covered in ash.
Dehumanizing.
The innocent talk of soccer at recess was chillingly replaced by tales of hunger, a constant grim recount of their daily struggle. People were so desperate they were eating the maize stalks, trying to extract any last shred of nutrition.
Anything.
William himself lost so much weight he had to use a rope as a belt. His cousin Gilbert, once a strong bouncer, became down to nothing from severe swelling edema. William observed it was only the swelling, the body retaining water from severe malnutrition. It was this pervasive deterioration, a slow fade.
And this despair, this raw desperation, inevitably led to widespread violence, anarchy, really.
Riots at the food distribution centers.
Riots erupted at 80 Arbach buildings, the government food centers, desperate masses surging forward. Tragically, children were sometimes trampled in the chaos. People resorted to stealing ripe Dow maize from fields at night, a desperate act of survival.
Leading to terrible revenge.
Horrifying stories of revenge. William himself witnessed the aftermath of a mob attacking and killing a thief, his neck cut to the bone. A stark, brutal illustration of society just unraveling under the weight of hunger.
And adding to this horror was a devastating health crisis.
Yeah.
Cholera outbreaks.
Spreading rapidly, viciously. Through flies, cockroaches, the tragic reality of starving people picking food from the ground. Clinics, overwhelmed, gave out free chlorine for water, a small measure against the tidal wave of sickness.
And his family was hit hard too.
Jeffrey, William's friend, suffered severe anemia, his legs horribly swollen, leaving finger impressions like clay. Then, agonizingly, William's mother and sister Malis contracted severe malaria. Vomiting, uncontrollable shaking, unable to speak or walk, terrifying delirium.
His father cycled his mother to the clinic.
His father, with incredible courage, cycled his gravely ill mother to the clinic. And, against all odds, she made a miraculous recovery. A brief flicker of hope in the overwhelming darkness.
But the profound loss was inescapable. A daily, tangible reality. Burials every day, the book says, from hunger, cholera, the earth constantly receiving new bodies.
Just constant grief.
Benny, the once joking madman of the village, died at the church, not directly from famine, but because no one had the strength or resources left to care for him. Chief Wimbe also died, his health worsened by a brutal beating from President Malusi's thugs. A cruel irony.
Authority figures falling too.
This cumulative devastation, this unraveling of community of authority, led to William's profound and chilling realization, a moment of stark clarity. Every man for himself, we were on our own.
Wow, that's a turning point.
A critical, transformative turning point, driving him to seek his own solutions, to become the architect of his own and his family's survival. It's such a powerful testament to the human spirit, isn't it? Out of this extreme, almost unimaginable hardship, William's insatiable curiosity didn't just survive. It wasn't just a flicker. It ignited a brand new path, demonstrating, against all odds, that true learning can happen anywhere. Driven by genuine interest, urgent need, even when formal structures completely fail you.
This transition is absolutely critical and profoundly inspiring. It shows how keen observation and persistent questioning can become incredibly powerful tools for understanding the world, even without formal education.
Yeah.
This period isn't just about small discoveries. It's laying the fundamental groundwork for a truly scientific approach to problem solving. It's the moment William shifts from passively observing the world to actively, relentlessly, brilliantly inquiring into its mechanics.
You can see this curiosity blossoming from a remarkably young age. William, along with Jeffrey and Gilbert, spent countless hours taking apart old, broken radios.
Trying to figure them out.
Yeah, figuring out how they worked, piece by painstaking piece. And then, with youthful ambition, attempting to fix them. Radios were absolutely vital in Malawi, weren't they? Not just for entertainment.
No, they were the only connection to the world outside the village. linking people to music, news, crucial agriculture programs. His father recalled hearing Dolly Parton, Kenny Rogers, Robert Fumilani on Radio 2 early on, sounds connecting them to a wider world.
And they'd scavenge relentlessly for used batteries because new ones were just too expensive. But William's fascination went far beyond radios. He was captivated by how cars worked, particularly how petrol operated an engine.
Stopping truckers to ask them.
Often stopping truckers, bold and uninhibited, asking them directly, what makes this happen? What's the secret?
His persistence in asking why about the bicycle dynamo is particularly telling. It really underscores his true scientific mindset.
Yeah, he discovered these simple generators on bikes, observed how pedaling created light, but he wasn't content just seeing the effect.
No, he needed to know how.
He would stop everyone he could with a dynamo, asking with this almost childlike insistence, why does it work? What is the secret? When people just shrugged and said, the dynamo is rotating, he wasn't satisfied. He pressed further, wanted to understand the underlying mechanism, the invisible forces. That's the heart of genuine inquiry.
And his first experiments, born from this insatiable curiosity, were wonderfully simple, yet profoundly revealing.
Playing with his father's friend's bike, right?
Exactly. Notice the dynamo wires were loose. Driven by pure curiosity, he accidentally touched the ends to the metal handlebar and spark.
Wow.
Not just a fleeting observation. It ignited an idea. Later, back home, he connected dynamo wires directly to a radio's AC socket, pedaled the bike, and miraculously, the radio came to life with Billy Conda's music.
The joy must have been immense.
Immediate, unrestrained joy. Jeffrey dancing around him, he recounts shouting, "Did you see that power, Jeffrey?" Even when the sheer force of the 12-volt dynamo, far too powerful for the 6-volt radio, caused it to pour black smoke and nearly catch fire.
He wasn't discouraged.
No. His excitement wasn't diminished. It only fueled his desire to understand more, to control this incredible, wild energy.
This is such a truly pivotal moment in William's story. Imagine finding the key to your future, not in a proper classroom, but in a dusty, ignored library book, tucked away in a school that had, frankly, largely failed him.
Yeah.
It's a real aha moment for William and for us, a powerful illustration of where true learning can actually happen.
The library, in this context, it transcends being just a collection of books, doesn't it? It becomes this powerful symbol of accessible knowledge, a gateway.
Totally.
It enables profound, self-directed learning that completely bypasses the traditional, often inaccessible educational structures. It's powerful proof that information, when combined with genuine curiosity and determination, is truly power. It highlights the incredible transformative impact of even basic resources when someone has the drive and ingenuity to use them.
That transformative moment, ironically, was born out of profound desperation. William had been selected for Kachokolo Secondary School, a rare opportunity, but his family, already struggling,
Couldn't afford the fees.
simply couldn't afford the 1,200 Kalawacha term fees, collected 3 times a year. He describes the dreadful conditions at his primary school, reading outside under a tree, missing walls, dangerous latrines where a classmate actually fell through.
Oh my goodness.
Secondary school wasn't much better. Students often sitting on the floor, no desks. This forced dropout from formal education was a huge setback, a crushing blow to his aspirations. But it also forced him to find an alternative path, to innovate his own education.
Which, thankfully, led him to the library at Wimby Primary School, a place he hadn't fully explored before, now run by the kind Mrs. Sicolo. He describes the rich, almost comforting, sweet, and musty smell of the books. A scent of knowledge, possibility.
And it wasn't just primary readers.
To his profound surprise, no. The shelves held a surprising variety: American textbooks, English, history, science, secondary texts from Zambia, Zimbabwe, even novels for leisure reading. This wasn't just remedial learning, it was a treasure trove of new ideas, a universe waiting to be explored.
Within this treasure trove, he gravitated towards specific science texts, explaining physics, using energy, integrated science.
Crucially, they had pictures.
Exactly. These books weren't filled with impenetrable jargon. They had clear pictures, diagrams that made complex concepts surprisingly accessible, allowing his curious mind to absorb information visually.
And he gained real insights.
Groundbreaking insights, learning how engines burned petrol. He'd been so curious about that. How car brakes worked, finally understanding vacuum brakes, not just rubber strips like on bikes. He even learned sophisticated terms like kinetic energy and diode from these self-directed lessons, a rigorous, if informal, education.
But the most fascinating chapter, the one that truly sparked his breakthrough, changed the trajectory of his life, was the discussion of magnets.
Magnets. He knew them from radios.
He already knew about magnets from playing with old radio speakers, using them as simple toys. From the books, he learned about electromagnets being used to generate electricity in simple motors, gained a deeper understanding of North and South poles. Then the book presented the best example of an AC generator. And it was a device he knew intimately.
The bicycle dynamo.
The bicycle dynamo. It stated, quote, "The movement energy is provided by the rider." This was Williams' profound, world-changing epiphany, a thunderclap of insight. Of course, and the rider is the wind.
That's the moment. The flash of genius. His entire vision just crystallized.
Exactly.
He realized if a bicycle dynamo could generate light from pedaling, then the powerful, consistent wind could spin blades, rotate magnets in a dynamo, create electricity, enough to power a simple bulb.
No more kerosene.
No more dirty, dangerous kerosene lamps burning their eyes, making them gasp. He could finally stay awake reading at night, devouring more knowledge. But his vision, typical of his expansive thinking, went way beyond a single light bulb.
He thought bigger.
He envisioned a windmill and a pump to provide a consistent water supply for a year-round garden, allowing his mother to grow vital crops, tomatoes, Irish potatoes, cabbage, mustard, soybeans, both to eat and to sell.
Truly freeing his family from hunger.
That was the goal, free them from the constant specter of hunger, and he hoped allow him to finally return to school. He saw the wind, this invisible, omnipresent force, as one of the few consistent things given to us by God, an untapped resource of immense potential. This wasn't just an idea, though, was it? Not just a beautiful vision in his mind. It was a relentless pursuit. William had this groundbreaking concept, but he had to literally build it from nothing, piece by salvaged piece, in the most challenging, resource-scarce conditions imaginable. It's a testament to his sheer determination.
The entire construction process, it highlights true iterative engineering principles, doesn't it? Observing, ideating, failing.
Lots of failing.
Adapting, problem-solving, all with severely limited resources. It's not just about what he built, but how he built it. A testament to applied knowledge, where every setback, every broken part, every failed test became a crucial lesson, pushing him to refine his designs and understanding further. It was learning by doing, at the most profound level.
His material sourcing was an adventure in itself, a testament to his resourcefulness. He describes it like exploring for treasure.
In that scrapyard.
Yeah, the abandoned garage and vast scrapyard at Estate 24 near Cochocolo School. Just this wilderness of discarded industrial remnants, rusted tractor parts, stripped car bodies, jagged sheet metal, all baking under the sun.
And he knew what he needed.
He knew he needed a strong generator or alternator, the heart of his machine. But he wasn't the only one looking for valuable junk. Other boys, scrap collectors, they were also hunting, making it a constant challenge.
His early design, born from those library insights, was ingenious in its simplicity, wasn't it? Envisioning blades attached to the gav, the bicycle frame, spinning the back wheel to power the dynamo.
Simple, but effective, if he could get the parts.
Right. He faced immediate practical obstacles, primarily the lack of a suitable generator. He had to get incredibly creative. Selling logs he'd cut down for 200 koacha.
Just to pay a welder.
To pay a local welder, Mr. Godston, a skilled artisan. To connect a shock absorber to a sprocket and crucially melt holes in a tractor fan. That fan would serve as the hub for his blades. This was the initial framework, the bones of his dream.
And a truly crucial piece of help, a moment of pure relief, came from his friend Gilbert.
Gilbert again.
Yeah, with incredible foresight and generosity, Gilbert bought William a bicycle dynamo and a bulb for 200 koacha. William felt Gilbert was the greatest friend I ever had. A pivotal moment. He finally had the missing piece to bring his vision to life.
Then came the painstaking assembly and the first tests.
Heating a nail with a maize cob handle and a fire to bore holes in the plastic blades. Laborious, dangerous work. Carefully fastened them to the tractor fan.
And the first test. Dramatic.
Oh, dramatic. Almost disastrous. The chain snapped, loud crack. The makeshift pole nearly tipped over, threatened to crush everything. And then, his father's radio, connected to the system.
The radio again.
Blew up, poured black smoke. Yet William's reaction wasn't despair, it was pure exhilaration, shouting, "Did you see that power, Jeffrey?" The smoke was simply a sign of raw energy.
This failure, as dramatic as it was actually a vital, immediate learning experience.
He realized the voltage problem.
Quickly realized the dynamo produced 12 volts, but the radio only needed 6. This forced him to delve deeper. led him to learn about transformers devices that could step down voltage, and the concept of dissipation energy lost as heat through wires, a crucial insight into efficiency.
So he made his own transformer.
He unwound a copper coil from an old motor to make his own transformer. With trepidation and excitement, connected it to a phone charger. Got quite a shock, painful but effective lesson, but successfully charged a phone, proving his understanding, confirming his theory.
And his ingenuity didn't stop there. He built a circuit breaker.
Designed and built his own circuit breaker, a safety device modeled after an electric bell to protect his delicate system from surges. Crafted it using PVC pipe, 2 electromagnetic coils from copper-wrapped nails, a bar magnet from a radio speaker, a bicycle spoke, and a ballpoint pen spring.
Incredible resourcefulness.
This self-made device, a testament to his applied physics knowledge, successfully tripped during a cyclone, a strong wind, and protected the entire system from damage. That's a true engineer at work, not just building, but ensuring safety, longevity, anticipating problems, designing solutions.
For all those sparks and smoke, the trials and errors, finally came light. And this wasn't just about generating electricity, was it? It was about transforming daily life, offering convenience, safety, a sense of dignity that had been previously unimaginable in their small, struggling home. A profound shift.
The shift from darkness to light, it has implications stretching far beyond mere illumination. It fundamentally alters the rhythms of family life, extends study time for William and his sisters, enables community interaction in the evenings, enhances safety. It opens up an entirely new realm of possibilities that were simply unavailable before, truly changing their daily existence.
The moment of raising the windmill itself was a huge undertaking, a massive physical challenge, belying the simplicity of the light it would provide.
90 pounds, right? Cobbled together.
90 pounds of scavenged parts. Had to be lifted using his mother's thick clothesline wire, a sturdy rope, a pulley, with the crucial help of Gilbert and Jeffrey. A true collaborative effort, a testament to their shared belief, despite the initial doubts from others.
And those doubts were palpable, weren't they? Villagers gathering around, skeptical.
Like Colino and Maggie, the tomato seller, gathered around, faces etched with skepticism, openly calling it impossible, just a toy. But William didn't need to argue. He simply demonstrated magitsi mfepo.
Electric wind.
Electric wind. Use a reed to hold the bulb, the light blazing bright against the growing dusk. His demonstration spoke for itself. He recounts, about 30 people showed up each day to stare at the light. It became a local sensation. Undeniable, tangible proof, drawing curious onlookers who had to see this magic with their own eyes.
And he brought that light directly into his home, literally wiring his mud-walled dwelling.
Ran electrical wires, created a socket in his wall, just like the ones he'd seen in Gilbert's house, a symbol of modern convenience. His sisters were utterly amazed at the sudden, brilliant light, stark contrast to the dim, flickering kerosene lamps. For William, it created his own private lighted space, a sanctuary to read and work without the limitations of expensive, eye-straining kerosene. A profound, personal victory, a quiet revolution in his own 4 walls.
His vision, though, extended beyond a single room, a single light. He understood the need for energy storage, immediately envisioned a battery system to store electricity for windless times, ensuring continuous light for the whole house, and crucially, saving his family money on increasingly expensive kerosene.
So he installed more bulbs.
Installed 3 additional bulbs running on a parallel circuit, expanding the reach of his innovation throughout their living quarters. A clear, practical step towards greater self-sufficiency.
The family pride must have been immense, almost overflowing. His father, a man of few words but deep wisdom, beaming, saying he enjoyed the electricity more than a city person because my own son made it.
That's wonderful.
He specifically highlighted the absence of blackouts, a common frustration for those on the grid, and the freedom from debt to the national power company, ESCOM. A huge financial burden for many. This wasn't just light, it was freedom, self-sufficiency, immense personal satisfaction for his family. A quiet triumph against the shadows of the famine.
Yet the journey was far from over, right? Ongoing challenges persisted, reminding him that innovation is a continuous process of refinement.
Bad wires.
Using poor quality wires, mostly salvaged, often bare, prone to sparking. Safety issues. His thatch roof even tragically collapsed from termites and another cyclone, a strong wind, dumping hundreds of squirming termites onto his floor and bed.
Oh no, what did he do?
William, ever resourceful, simply called his chickens to eat the termites, turning disaster into a solution.
Amazing.
Crossed wires during the collapse caused a burn smell, reinforcing the need for continuous improvement, safer electrical practices. Every challenge, no matter how frustrating, was a lesson, propelling him to learn and build better.
William's story, born from profound adversity and this incredible local ingenuity, it just couldn't stay contained within the small confines of his village, could it?
No way.
It began to travel, quietly at first, then with increasing momentum, reaching far beyond his immediate community into the wider world, a beacon of hope.
This phase truly highlights the critical role of external champions and the media in amplifying an individual's impact. It shows how local innovation, when recognized and supported, can connect to global platforms, illustrating how one determined voice can spark a much larger movement. It's where William's personal journey transforms into something with profound, broader implications for many.
Even as his windmill gained local attention, William continued his relentless self-education. His thirst for knowledge, just unquenchable.
Kept borrowing books.
Expanding his interests far beyond physics to critical topics like HIV/AIDS awareness, tirelessly improving his spelling, delving into the intricacies of water pumps, refrigeration systems, even alternative fuels. It's clear his curiosity knew no bounds, driven by a desire to solve problems not just for himself but for his entire community.
Not all his experiments were immediate successes, though, which is a crucial part of the innovation story.
The biogas experiment.
Right. He attempted to create biogas from cow manure and water in a barrel, hoping for a clean fuel source. The process, he recounts, resulted in a vile smell, and when he tried to ignite the gas,
Nothing.
it would frustratingly sputter out and die, much to his mother's fury over a ruined cooking pot. This perfectly illustrates that innovation is a process of trial and error, a messy, often smelly dance where failure isn't a deterrent, but a natural, almost necessary part of discovery.
Exactly. And those failures didn't deter him. In fact, his sheer enthusiasm, his commitment to learning were so impressive that clinic doctors,
He recognized his potential.
recognizing his burgeoning leadership qualities, his ability to communicate complex ideas, they actually asked him to write a play about HIV prevention and treatment.
A play.
Wow. He titled it Monikheadwe Apuzitsa. Don't judge the book by its cover. It was performed at the training center, a powerful form of community education on a vital health issue. This really shows how his influence was growing beyond just mechanical invention, reaching into public health awareness.
His burgeoning talents were beginning to attract wider, more influential attention. Dr. Hartford McCausing, an older man described with kind, gentle eyes, visited William, drawn by the stories.
And he was impressed.
Deeply impressed by what he saw, not just the windmill, but the intellect, the drive behind it. Dr. McCausing declared, "This country needs to know about this boy." This was a truly pivotal moment, a turning point that would allow William's story to gain traction far beyond his community, providing the necessary bridge to a larger platform.
And Dr. McCausing didn't just speak words, he acted on them. Arranged for visits from famous journalists.
Like Everson Masaya from Radio 1, whose voice William had heard for years, a familiar presence. And Noel Makubwi from Zodiac, a prominent Malawian textbook author.
William, with his characteristic earnestness, explained his electric wind invention to them, leading to media attention that would fundamentally change his trajectory. His interview with Everson Masaya even aired on Radio 1.
Imagine that moment.
A moment of immense pride, disbelief, his family gathering around their precious radio to listen to his voice broadcast across the nation.
Dr. Fakazion's dedication went even further, didn't it? Directly addressing William's primary barrier, school fees.
He raised money.
Personally took it upon himself to raise nearly 2,000 kwacha, even contributing some of his own pay from colleagues to help William return to school. This financial support was absolutely crucial. William had dropped out because his family couldn't pay a barrier that had seemed insurmountable. It was a concrete act of belief in William's potential.
Despite all this media attention, the Ministry of Education, in a baffling display of bureaucracy, initially delayed his admission to secondary school.
Unbelievable.
But Dr. McCausum's persistence was absolutely key here. He tirelessly drove to various education offices, confronting officials, telling them directly, "You people are delaying him. The more you delay, the more he's growing up."
Good for him.
His unwavering advocacy, his refusal to take no for an answer, eventually secured William a place in Medici Secondary School, finally providing him with a pathway back to formal education, a chance he had yearned for during the long, dark days of the famine. Suddenly, almost overnight, William's world just opened up in ways he could never have imagined. From a small, remote village in Malawi, he was stepping onto a global stage.
Wow.
Not just as an inventor, but as a compelling storyteller, a powerful symbol of hope. This was a whole new reality, and he was adjusting to it with remarkable grace.
This journey is so much more than just physical travel, isn't it? It's about a profound intellectual and cultural expansion. His past struggles, the harsh lessons of famine and resourcefulness, didn't just fade away. They actively informed a future of wider impact, demonstrating the incredible ripple effect of education and exposure. He transitioned from self-taught innovation to a global learner, constantly absorbing, applying new knowledge.
His return to Medici Secondary School, though initially lonely as he was older than many students, brought him immense solace in the school library. He continued his studies with renewed vigor, even learning complex scientific terms like electric bell in English, absorbing everything he could.
And that was just the beginning.
Just the beginning.
Yeah.
In 2007, he attended the prestigious TED Global Conference in Arusha, Tanzania. His first time ever on an airplane. First time staying in a hotel, a world away from his village.
Mind-blowing.
He met Soyapi Mumba, who first blogged about him on Hacktivate, making his story known to the digital world. And Tom Riley, who organized corporate sponsors to bring him there. Despite his limited English, his presentation, simple and heartfelt, was so compelling that his powerful phrase, "I try and I made it," became a conference motto.
I try and I made it. Fantastic.
He found true colleagueship with other African innovators, like Cornelia Wango, a botanist who risked his life for animals during war, a man from Ethiopia who invented a refrigeration system, discovering a shared spirit of ingenuity across the continent.
This exposure at TED Global brought significant, tangible upgrades to his original windmill, right? Transforming it into a more robust, safer system.
Absolutely. Sponsors like Jerry and Mike McKay visited his village, leading to installation of new, high-quality wiring, plastic conduit to protect lines, buried lines to prevent fires, critical safety improvement.
Lightning rod, too.
They even installed a lightning rod, addressing a very real threat. His humble mud walls were painted white for better light reflection, enhancing his lights, and crucially, solar panels were installed on his roof.
Wow, solar too.
His vision didn't stop there, it expanded, envisioning every home in my village eventually having panels and batteries, making the entire compound glow at night, a beacon of light and progress. This showed how his individual innovation was now directly benefiting his community on a much larger, more sustainable scale.
His educational journey continued to evolve and expand in truly remarkable ways. Accepted with a scholarship to African Bible College Christian Academy, ABCCA, in Lilongwe, run by Presbyterian missionaries, despite being older than other students.
He lived with Jerry Douglas there.
Lived comfortably with Jerry Douglas, had his own room, and Nancy, Jerry's wife, made sure he ate well, a stark contrast to his famine years. Later, another scholarship to the African Leadership Academy in Johannesburg, South Africa, a prestigious Pan-African high school for future leaders designed to cultivate the brightest minds. And to further broaden his horizons and language skills, he even attended a 5-week language class in Cambridge, England. Each step was just a leap into a new world of opportunity.
And then, the full force of the modern world truly hit him. His first time in America? New York City. Profoundly transformative.
What was that like for him?
He described seeing towering buildings scraping the sky, riding an elevator with a mirror, walking through vast, echoing tunnels, observing the incredibly fast-paced city life. People drinking coffee from paper cups while walking and sending emails, a concept utterly foreign to his village life.
A different planet, almost.
He also visited Jay Walker's famous library, a private museum of great inventions, filled with books hundreds of years old. For William, who found his initial salvation in a dusty school library, this must have felt like a powerful culmination, a living testament to the enduring power of knowledge.
But perhaps the most profound experience for his original vision, for that seed planted in the Malawian library, came with a visit to the Windtech wind farm in California.
Seeing the giant windmills.
Seeing enormous windmills, truly gargantuan structures, towering over 200 feet tall, wingspans longer than an airplane. Truly transformative. He even went inside the dark belly of one, a monumental piece of engineering.
And the power they generated.
These machines, he learned, generated 600 megawatts, an astonishing amount, enough to power all of Malawi compared to Eskom's mere 224 milliW. It was, for him, the powerful, tangible culmination of his vision. Seeing the machines he had only imagined and painstakingly built a miniature version of, now operating on an industrial scale, filling him with awe and possibility.
His global recognition continued to grow, cementing his place as an inspiration. He spoke at the World Economic Forum on Africa in Cape Town in 2008, where he even had the opportunity to directly inform President Mutharika about his project.
Wow. Telling the president.
A moment of immense significance, given the previous government's denial of the famine. And in a beautiful full-circle moment, his original circuit breaker and light-switch simple artifacts of his early genius were honored and exhibited at the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago. A testament to the simplicity and profound impact of his early innovations, now recognized on a truly global stage.
Incredible journey.
William's journey isn't just about his incredible accomplishments, as astounding as they are. It's a powerful, universal message, isn't it? For anyone facing their own impossible challenge, whether it's personal, community, global. It's a profound story about agency, about the human spirit's unyielding capacity to rise above circumstances and to innovate its way out of despair.
His core lesson, distilled from a life of intense struggle and profound discovery, is beautifully simple, yet incredibly powerful. If you want to make it, all you have to do is try.
Just try.
This isn't just a platitude, it's a profound distillation of his entire narrative, emphasizing the transformative power of agency, perseverance, unwavering self-belief, and overcoming even the most crushing adversity. It's a simple truth, but one that drove truly extraordinary action.
And his vision for the future, for Malawi, it's as expansive as the wind itself. He dreams of a forest of them along the green fields of Malawi, massive windmills transforming the landscape, the lives of his people.
Beyond his own achievements.
His ambition extends beyond his own achievements. He envisions teaching others, equipping them to build simple windmills to provide their own light, water, lessening dependence on government external aid. He deeply desires to inspire other young people out there who are trying to elevate themselves and their communities, to help remove this burden of bad luck from their backs, just as I did, and use it to build a better future. It's a powerful call to action, rooted in his own lived experience, a blueprint for collective empowerment.
So what does this all mean for us?
William Kamkwamba's deep dive shows us, in vivid, heartbreaking, and ultimately inspiring detail, how this unique blend of traditional understanding, relentless, almost boundless curiosity, and sheer indomitable will can transform not just a single life, but an entire community. It's a living testament to the idea that knowledge and perseverance are truly the most powerful forces in the universe.
This story profoundly illustrates the universal power of ingenuity in the face of scarcity, and how individual innovation, born from necessity and curiosity, when shared and championed, can ignite widespread hope and progress, even in the most challenging, seemingly hopeless circumstances. It truly embodies the idea that what one learns, what one creates, can be applied to change the world, one brilliant spark at a time.
William's journey began with such a simple, almost innocent question, didn't it? About how a bicycle light worked. It led him from a world ruled by magic to one illuminated by his own hands. So what simple, everyday mystery has captured your curiosity? What everyday problem do you look at and wonder, how does that work? Or maybe, could this be better? And what might happen if you decided to deep dive into it, armed only with that curiosity and the will to try?